Hello everyone and welcome to the first day of your workshop training on how to end emotional and binge eating. My name is Anna and I will guide you through the three-part workshop. So let's get going. So how do you end emotional and binge eating without any confusion, without the overwhelm, without feeling stuck, without endless restrictions and dieting, and without repeating constantly the binge eating cycle over and over again? In this training, you will learn 3 simple secrets to end emotional and binge eating without confusion, which is the exact opposite of what most people do. I have been working for over 13 years with clients, helping them end emotional and binge eating. And most of them, if not all of them, come from a dieting background. Dieting background is something that I am also very familiar with because I have struggled with dieting and trying to lose weight and my emotional eating and my binge eating for many, many years. Most of my clients, just like the ones whose testimonials you have now in front of you, have dieted their whole life. They were restricting and then they were binging, and they couldn't understand why they couldn't keep their weight off. All they wanted was to lose some weight. The problem was that they didn't understand that they were emotional eaters. They didn't understand why they were binging. They were just focusing on the binge. And when you focus only on the binge, you're not looking at what happened before. So my job with them was to help them understand how to eat, how to assess their emotions, how to assess their triggers, and their mindset surrounding food. The weight loss that comes once you stop binging is really a bonus point. So when someone says losing weight is one thing, but finding peace with food is a whole other topic, that's when you know that these are the real results. So this is just some of the client results that you can find, but there are many more that you can read on my website as well. Why what I'm telling you today is a little bit different. If you're struggling with ending emotional eating, this is for you, because on some level, there is something not working for you. You have either been doing something wrong, you are either missing a puzzle, like a piece of a puzzle to complete your journey and to reach food freedom and to become an intuitive eater. Or like everyone else, you're most likely super overwhelmed and confused of what really works. The biggest thing that I believe is that on some level you have been lied to, that in order to end emotional eating and in order to end binge eating, you need to diet. If you're looking for a different way, and if you saw that dieting doesn't work for you, then stick around, because I will share with you my 3-pillar approach, how to end emotional and binge eating for good. So up until now, you haven't ended eating emotionally, you're still binging, and because you have most probably tried to diet, but dieting, as you probably know, gives you very short-term results without understanding your underlying emotions. You have probably tried spending tons of money on diet products, but that also doesn't change your relationship with food. It's just a product that you can use for a limited period of time. You have tried to rely on motivation and willpower, but that also doesn't work because you cannot be motivated all the time or have strong willpower all the time. So here is what I'm going to take you through. Secret number 1 to ending emotional and binge eating is that you need to stop dieting forever. Secret number 2 is that you need to understand your emotional triggers before a binge happens, instead of relying on motivation and willpower and this feeling that I can push through my cravings at 10 p.m. in front of the TV. And secret number 3 is that you're going to change your mindset around food instead of spending money on fat products and hoping for a magic fix. So why listen to me? I have worked, as I said, with clients for many years. This is just one of my clients who, bless her heart, has been 50 years struggling with binge eating, with dieting, with restricting herself, with having a very poor self-image, a lot of body dysmorphia. She actually believed that she was the problem because she was not able to sustain a weight loss. And she has indoctrinated herself that her life would be perfect if only she could get to a specific weight and a specific number on the scale. Through this program, she learned how to eat in a balanced way. She learned how to understand her emotions and her triggers. She stopped dieting. She made peace with food. And at this point, we can say that she has fully recovered from emotional and binge eating. So I have also suffered from emotional eating for 15 years. I was stuffing myself with food to not think, to numb my emotions when I was bored, when I was alone, when I was feeling lonely. I was just eating all the time. I was eating not to feel the pain that other people caused me. I was feeling sick to my stomach, and yet I couldn't stop because I was just in it, like in a trance, and I was not really happy with my food choices. I felt very isolated, ashamed, guilty, sad, angry, disappointed in myself. I developed quite a few health problems because of this, gained weight, had issues with my blood pressure for a short period of time, with my blood sugar rising. So I have been where you are right now, and I do feel your pain. So secret number one, as I said, is that you need to stop dieting to end emotional and binge eating. Because after years of dieting, and I mean, I was a chronic dieter, and I was trying to control my cravings and my weight, I realized that if I'm doing this over and over again, it means that it's not working. So there must be something else to work on in order to fix my problem. I was focused solely on what I'm eating, how much I'm eating, what the number says on the scale, and my measurements. I was not convinced that my emotions and my thoughts have anything to do with what I eat and how much I eat. So for me, this was just a numbers game. But constant dieting and restrictions, they don't lead to long-term weight loss, and they don't help you end emotional eating. Dieting is something that works short-term, and it's always meant to fail you. You're always supposed to go back to the diet. In the beginning, you get a high because you have just stopped eating sugar or carbs, or you're eating low-calorie or low-fat. You're moving more, drinking more water, so of course you're losing weight, but that's not sustainable. And because it's not sustainable, the moment you stop, you gain it all back and some more. So if an average woman in her lifetime is dieting for 17 years and have tried more than 200 diets, then we can actually say that if dieting is or would have been a successful method, it would have worked the first time you tried it. It's just a trap for you to feel like you're in control, but you're actually not in control because someone else is telling you how much to eat and what to eat. You just feel like you're in control because you're following a program, but you're actually not eating what you want. You're not eating, the foods that you like. You're not eating when you go out. You are restricting yourself, but you're convincing yourself at the same time that you're doing something good because you know that the result will come if you are disciplined. The problem is that the way you lose the weight is the way you need to eat for the rest of your life to maintain it. And we are not ready to do that, are we? So, because, we have a life. So this is just not a sustainable way. The truth is that in order to end emotional and binge eating, you need to unblock a lot of your underlying thoughts, beliefs, habits that you have acquired around food and eating first and foremost. You need to understand where does this idea of weight, body image, good food, bad foods, habits around food come from? What have you learned from your family? What have you learned from society? How you have put it into practice? We need to unravel, first of all of that before we start working on binge eating and emotional eating. Dieting is something that you go to lose weight temporarily because there is like a single focus is put on the food, but it's not put on why do you overeat in the first place. And if you want to understand your underlying emotions, you will not understand them through dieting. Dieting gives you an illusion, literally an illusion that you're in control, but you're not, because it doesn't take into account personal stories, your relationship with food, and something that you have developed over the years. There are patterns that we first need to break, like, bread is bad, or don't eat after 6, or sugar will kill you, or high-fat foods are bad, so on and so forth. And this is just the beginning. So another thing when it comes to food is that you may think that if you actually remove food from the house, you're solving the problem, like you will not eat these foods, but you're actually not solving the reason behind your cravings. You're only focused on removing temptations without understanding why are you so triggered by that food and why do you think it would lead to a binge. If you feel obsessed around certain foods, if you feel out of control, if you feel like you cannot have them around you, that means that there is an issue. That means that on some level, either physically or mentally, you are restricting yourself. And that always leads to a binge because nowadays, you can just order food 24/7. You don't even have to leave the house. So this idea that you remove food from your house is not really realistic because you can always get it. So this is one of my clients, and she was like a typical person who would eat often, alone at night when no one could see her in secrecy. And she didn't realize that was a pattern whenever she would feel lonely. She just thought it was something that she enjoys doing, but she didn't connect it to the loneliness. And of course, she tried every single diet. She was very strict with her dieting, once I encouraged her to ditch the dieting, to start including slowly different types of foods, especially those that she was binging on, those foods lost their appeal. They were not interesting anymore. I asked her, if you're not fascinated and you don't binge on a broccoli, it's because you know you can have it whenever you want. So slowly, by practicing, by using my tools, she realized that that can be with any other food item. And it actually worked so that she doesn't have these massive cravings and urges to binge. And of course, we also worked, as she says, that by losing weight, which was important, but she understood the patterns and found different ways to soothe and to comfort herself. So what you can take out from this chapter is that the way you are trying to lose weight, and if you want to stay at that number, you need to find something sustainable. So short-term restrictive fad diets will not work. Instead, try to make meals so that you can actually incorporate all your favorite foods. Regardless of the number of calories you're eating, you can incorporate them on a weekly basis, and you will notice that your cravings are subsiding and that you don't have any more those urges that you had before when you were very strict on your diet. So this was part 1. This is one of the key pillars. Stay tuned for the part 2 and part 3 coming very soon to your inboxes. Thank you for listening.